Well, what I'm trying to say is, you're out here promoting women's rights, but you're promoting a woman wearing something that she's forced to wear in other countries. It's not by choice.
According to opinion polls, that it should be illegal to appear in public wearing face-covering clothes like the burqa.
The French government has called the veils, and I quote, a new form of enslavement, end quote, not acceptable on its soil. And I quote, a new form of enslavement, end quote, not acceptable on its soil. And I quote, a new form of enslavement, end quote.
Due to the growing othering and vilification of Islam throughout the world, misconceptions, myths, and discrimination have perpetuated an image of veiling as a source of oppression for Islamic women. However, these misconceptions fail to account for or even consider the actual experiences of Muslim women. During the late 20th century, sociologist Robert Orsi proposed a new framework for religious beliefs, practices, and everyday experiences. He called it lived religion. Lived religion can be defined as a study of religion focused on the everyday experiences of the people involved rather than doctrines or texts. Lived religion is about recognizing that religious actors behave in patterned ways that may divert from what is written within their respective religious texts. Within Islamic culture, lived experiences can be seen through the practice of veiling women. Although the Quran instructs both men and women to dress in modest ways, it never mentions a requirement for women to veil themselves. Some of the interpretations of the Quran as requiring the veiling of women center around a passage within the Quran in which Allah tells women to bring down over themselves part of their outer garments because it is appropriate that they be known and not abused. However, many argue that this passage does not support the belief that veiling is required. In fact, the majority of women who engage in veiling consider themselves to have chosen to engage in this practice.
What does wearing the headscarf mean to you as a young Muslim woman?
Well, the headscarf means a lot of things for lots of different women, and I don't think mine...
So to you, what does it mean to you?
Well, to me, it's a reconciliation of, my Muslim background and my European culture, and but that's not. I can't say that's the same for everyone.
Do you wear it because of modesty and because you need to cover up your hair?
Not necessarily, no. For me, it's more of a cultural thing.
There is nothing in canonical text or doctrine directly specifying that Muslim women veil themselves with a face covering or a body covering, but you can't understand the presence of women in Islam without understanding the practice of this experience. A common reason behind the decision to veil themselves is rooted in the idea of community, specifically the female community within the Muslim world. The veil presents them with an opportunity to not only express their identity, but to also form a community with women like themselves. Veiling can therefore be seen as unifying Islamic women through common experiences. Overall, wearing a veil works to further emphasize an individual's membership and commitment to the Islamic religion, to modesty, and to God.
Because when I talk, I believe that I have a voice, I have an opinion, I'm my own person.
It's an extra step that people can do. And for me personally, it was something that I believe brings me closer to God. It was my way of saying, you know what? This is my empowerment. This is my liberation.
According to Orsi, when one conducts research on certain practices, one must not only observe people, but we must also talk to them and ask them questions. The failure by Western society to talk to Muslim women and ask them questions about their experiences is the primary reason for the misconceptions regarding the practice of veiling. We should look into the lived experiences of these women before we decide to judge the unfamiliar.